So, do you have any idea what the Clemson Experimental Forest is?
I don't know anything.
Ridden my bike by it.
I don't know anything about it.
I've heard of it, but to be honest, I don't really know anything about it.
I know it past it all the time.
Not very much.
They don't want to let the occupy the land. And that's all I know nothing about it. He doesn't.
Not a thing.
I'm going there for biolab next week.
I don't know anything about the experimental forest.
I think I've seen some signs over on 76.
If you had to guess, how big do you think the experimental forest would be?
I don't know. I guess a lot.
Not bigger than experimental.
Larger than most colleges?
1 billion acres.
100 acres. Pretty big, maybe a couple acres.
I think it's like 50 acres.
50 acres?
Maybe 50 acres.
Several hundred.
Taylor Kimmel, it's my first year.
A couple of thousand acres. I'd like to see it. Yeah. What does Clemson use all the land for? And why do they need that much?
I think it might be easier to show you than to tell you.
That sounds fun.
This property we're looking at here is a portion of the 17,500 acre Clemson Experimental Forest. And this property was acquired in the 1930s under a project initiated by Dr. George All. He submitted a project to the Roosevelt administration. And that was a rehabilitation program for, agricultural land. A lot of the land was abandoned. So Dr. All submitted this project and it was eventually approved and initiated in 1934. George All's leadership started acquiring the farmland around Clemson campus. They acquired nearly 30,000 acres of farms around Clemson to create a consolidated block of land. Built this lake, the small lake, Lake Issaquena, was built done by the Works Progress Administration, which was people hired from the local community that did the work on the property here. When World War II started, they used a portion of this property for a bombing range, and they used this lake for a bombing range. All the old fields, most of the old fields were converted back to forest lands. And then the property was eventually deeded to Clemson in 1954 with some reservations in the deed that it be used for public purposes. And the property is used by Clemson for natural resource education and resource management demonstration projects. We manage the forest as an operating forest. We don't get any revenue from Clemson or the state to do the forest operations. We harvest about 2 million board feet of timber on the forest annually. We plant trees to replace those we've harvested. And you can actually notice the forest as a dark spot if you fly over it at night. Clemson students have a unique access to those activities that occur within close proximity to the campus.
I really like the forest. It's definitely a lot bigger than I thought. And I want to come back because there's a lot you can do here. Definitely want to go down that. That looks fun. Definitely a lot steeper than I thought it would be. I wonder what else is out there.